So that finishes then Liverpool 3, Athletic Club 2. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we, Gab Marcotti, and fresh from his knee surgery. Let's just how are you doing, Robert? You're looking a bit pale. Is everything okay?
Well, I've been out for 2.5 weeks. I'm bound to be a bit pale, but it's all going very well at the moment. Thank you very much, Dan.
That's good. We really do have the two contrasts with Gab and Robbo for the show. So, Stevie, what did we learn from that Liverpool game?
Not too much, but, you know, with Ekitike, if your signings are not scoring goals but they're setting people up, then that's fine. Nice to see Mo Salah scoring as well. I think probably they ran out of steam after about an hour, because before that they were pretty sharp, certainly the way they went after Bilbao. They went at them at pace often, so that's a good sign. But again, tough to really hang your hat on anything. Again, it gets people minutes on the field. As I said, they got 2 weeks before the first game of the season, and they did drop off after an hour. So that just tells them where they are in terms of the fitness.
How was Florian Wirtz?
He was okay. I mean, I'd like to see a little bit more in the final third from him. But as I said, you've still got another 2 weeks to go, and somebody like him, when they're at the sharpest, not just with the legs but with their brain, that's when you'll see him doing damage, particularly in the final third.
You're all right. You seem a bit down.
No, it's pre-season. I listened to you lot last night. I mean, to be honest. I mean, Xhaka and him going at it. Xhaka was right, but he was right as well.
Right.
You know. It's pre-season, guys. Calm down.
OK, all right. There we go. Robbo, what was your takeaway from this? And don't say it was pre-season.
No, I think there's some good things from Liverpool's point of view. The speed in which they played that first hour, the combination between Frimpong and Mo Salah down the right-hand side. I was impressed with Szoboszlai in midfield, the way he rotated positions at times with Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz came a little bit too deep for my liking, and Ekitike obviously made the goal, as Stevie just said, with that bit of pace, change of pace, went past his man, a good little cutback. There was also one or two worrying moments when Liverpool tried to play into midfield, as they did very well in the first half. They had the extra player in there, and when Athletic Club went narrow, they gave the ball away 2 or 3 times, and it looked as though they were easy to counter-attack. That's something that Arne Slot's got to make sure it doesn't happen. If they give the ball away in those areas, they could be in trouble, because Kerkez wants to go forward, Frimpong wants to go forward. At times, Gravenberch was even going forward in the game. So that's the downside, and obviously didn't defend set plays well. But the plus side was the pace in which they played, the way they won the ball back in that first half, the combination between Frimpong and Mo Salah, and Gakpo scoring a couple of goals. So it was a good night's work for Liverpool, I would say.
To Stewie's point about the midfield Liverpool, at times it looks very light in terms of numbers, because you have guys that their first instinct is, once they regain possession of the ball, they're going forward. And it was impressive how quickly Frimpong gets forward, how quickly Mohamed Salah, and that combination is working really well. Florian Wirtz on the turn, he's going forward. Szoboszlai, he's joining in the attack. Ekitike, impressive as well. Then you get presence in the attack on the left-hand side by Gakpo and Kerkez, and you're thinking, man, when these guys win the ball, they're going. Here's the problem, though. It becomes a broken team at times and stretched. You got a back line and you got your 2 center backs, and then you got everybody else besides whoever is holding the line in the midfield. They're all going. A little light in the midfield, which then exposes them to counterattack opportunities. So this is something that I think they're going to have to address. You have a lot of attack-minded players. Do you have enough balance to account for potential counterattack opportunities from other teams? And if we're seeing it, teams that are preparing to play Liverpool in the upcoming season, they're seeing it as well. If you're able to break through that first line of pressure, they're light in numbers in the midfield, you can get after them in the attack.
A lot of speculation, of course. We've talked about it a lot, about the possibility of Isak making that move from Newcastle to Anfield. Eddie Howe addressed the situation once again, saying you have to earn the right to train with us. We are Newcastle United. The player has a responsibility here to be part of a team and part of a squad. You have to act the right way. So that is also at play here. No player can expect to act poorly and train with the group as normal. This is, of course, Isak, who didn't go on pre-season with Newcastle. They're back training now, and it's basically about what he needs to do for the team to get back and allowed to train. Is Eddie Howe handling this correctly?
Yeah, I love that. He's basically coming out and saying, Alexander Isak, if he thinks he can just walk back in and think nothing's happened, and he hasn't cause me or the team a problem and taking the focus off the team. That's what this statement's all about. I love it absolutely 100%. I think it sends the wrong message. If Eddie Howe was to come out and say, we're delighted he's back, all is forgiven. No, you have to take responsibility, and the manager can't just cave in. He has to show.
It's not cutting off your nose, though, to spite your face, considering how much you need Isak. You want him to stay?
No, not at all. You're going to, I would assume, you're going to earn some respect from the player. Because the player probably, at some stage, when he was away on his own, thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, they'll be glad I'm back. Well, Eddie Howe will obviously take him back, but he's just telling him, you need to respect us. It's not just about you, it's about the whole team.
Is this power play going to work, Robbo?
I think Eddie Howe's done the right thing. Whether it works or not, I think it's almost saying that Isak, the relationship's going to be broken. Even if Isak comes back now, the crowd aren't going to be too impressed with him because he wants to go away from Newcastle, fervent supporters. The other players will be very pleased that Eddie Howe has stood up, to Stevie's point. The other players say, yeah, the manager's absolutely right. If this player thinks he doesn't want to play for us and he wants to go and do other things and he doesn't want to train properly, he's got to be disciplined. He can't just think he can walk back in and start joining in again and be our star player, because he won't be the star player because he hasn't trained properly for quite a while. It'll be 6 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks before he's fully fit. So it looks to me as though Eddie Howe and Newcastle may have to, at some point, think that Isak will go and get a big fee for him.
But Gab, when you've been on, you've talked about the fact that you don't think he's going to go.
I mean, I don't know for certain, but you asked me to speculate, and I'm speculating that he probably wouldn't go, simply because it's an enormous fee, because Liverpool, I think, have other needs, and because Liverpool went out and signed Ekitike. I mean, these are the basic reasons. This whole earn the right to train with a team. I have a sneaking suspicion that if he's still a Newcastle player on September 1st, or if he signs a new contract, maybe one with a release clause, as I've mooted, all of a sudden he will have earned the right to train with his teammates once again. So I think Eddie Howe's saying the right things from his perspective. But if somehow this is somehow repaired, and I don't think it's impossible that it'll be repaired, I think things are going to be okay. Newcastle fans, or football fans in general, I know people like to lampoon fans and whatever. They're under no illusions. They live in the real world. They know that Alan Shearer said no to Manchester United and chose Newcastle, but he was kind of a one-off, right? Others are going to realize that if he's going to get an enormous amount of money, he's not from Newcastle. He moved there. They paid a huge fee to get him out of another club, to get him from Real Sociedad to Newcastle. And he's a professional footballer. And as long as he's there, I don't think they're going to turn on him or make his life hell or boo him at every turn. They may not love him the way they love some other players, but I think that's understandable. But I think Eddie Howe's playing this correctly for now. And I think if he does stick around, I think it's going to be business as usual on the football pitch anyway, for the season to come.
There were 2 games today. You had Liverpool A against Athletic Club A, and the reserves kind of side played before that. Darwin Nunez included in that reserves side, and he would score, Gab. Where are we with Darwin Nunez?
A lot of clubs are confident. Milan, of course, are one club that have been mentioned, that they feel he can contribute, because maybe not as a goal scorer, but as a guy who runs around, wreaks havoc. He puts in a shift. And to us, it's worth this much. And we know that every day that passes, he's going to get cheaper and cheaper. You would have to think that if Liverpool are seriously pushing, reports today of another, bid of £110 million knocked back for Isak, that they're going to have to recoup some of that money through the sale of Darwin Nunez. So I think it's what you're seeing right now is very much a game of chicken.
Yeah, you were sat here so smug when you sold Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich. This is how you do it. You bring players in for 30, sell them on for 70. Liverpool showing people like Manchester United how it should be done. Yeah. Darwin Nunez has been an absolute failure from day one in that sense, hasn't he?
Wow. What you want?
Well, you paid 75 million for him, and now you're trying to sell him to you're trying to sell him to everyone, and nobody wants him.
Club signs player doesn't produce. Everybody gets it wrong.
You can't be sat there blowing
Everybody
it. You
gets
can't be
it wrong.
sat. Oh, everyone gets it one.
Everybody.
So that's all right. Okay. All right then.
Well, let's go and look at what Fergie got wrong.
Oh my! Right, God. Let's get the black and white footage out, shall we?
Oh, sorry. All right, they made a mistake. Okay.
Right.
Is that what you want?
Well, yeah, I do want you to admit that they have made a massive mistake.
They made a mistake.
Oh, so go on, Gab.
They won a league title with Darwin Nunez as part of the forward rotation.
Oh, Gab,
So
you're not
did he live
helping
up
my
to-
cause. He
No,
was on the
no.
back foot. What are you doing? Don't jump in.
All I'm saying is, was he worth 75 million? No. Will they need to take a loss on it? I know you love it when I talk amortization. It gets you all excited. You know, the reality is they would need to get somewhere north of 30, 35 million not to lose money on it. They may get there, they may not, because he still has a couple years left on hefty wages. But, you know, I think, I know it's fun to mock Darwin Nunez, but you think you have to look at what he contributed to the team in the time he was there, and did the team win things? And yes, they did. They won. They won the title.
Kingston won the title last season as well. Then.
Hey, Gab, you busted his bubble big time. He's not happy. You should see his face. He's nearly crying here.
It's weird, Ali, because when you think of Nunez and possibilities as to which clubs, you just for some reason Atletico Madrid is one of those that just keep popping up. But obviously they've spent their money elsewhere this summer.
Yeah, and that is a position that is heavily occupied. Julian Alvarez, my guy, Alexander Sorloth. Sure. And you're thinking, okay, well, where could he possibly go? But that is a matchup made in heaven. Simeone, Darwin Nunez, personalities, you need that sort of, you're thinking maybe Diego Costa ends up coming out of the soul of Darwin Nunez somewhere, somehow. Maybe that's what we're looking for if you're Darwin Nunez. But somehow I feel like the days of Darwin Nunez at Liverpool are not quite over just yet. And the reason I say that is you take the performance today of Hugo Ekitike, and I know the sample size is small, but it's encouraging enough to where if you're making decisions for Liverpool, financial decisions for Liverpool, you ask yourself, well, is it worth it for us to go chase Alexander Isak and pay the amount of money that we would have to pay for the player when we have a player in Hugo Ekitike who can do some of the same things that Alexander Isak can do? And we have a guy that we're already paying in Darwin Nunez that he's not going to start. The other guy will start, but he can be a valuable piece coming off the bench that maybe without all the pressure on him to be the guy can give you valuable minutes. I'm merely presenting a case that Liverpool don't have to chase Alexander Isak and that Darwin Nunez could be useful enough for them.
I agree with Ali 100%. Listen, if Liverpool have decided there's a figure, and if we don't get it, he stays. Then, as Gab said, he scored some goals last season. When we've got the FA Cup, we've got the League Cup and all that coming around. So that's fine. Yeah. Ali, you are 100% correct.
Well, thank you, Stevie.
You're welcome.
I don't want to know, Gab.
Come on, Stevie. Keep going with Darwin Nunez.
You really upset me.
Keep going with Darwin Nunez. Try again.
Nunez, of course.
Oh, but what do you think about Nunez?
Robert's got his own issues.
Well, Nunez is a good player, but he's lost his confidence.
Oh, not currently Dan.
There's still a good player somewhere in there, but he's lost his confidence. Will he ever get that back at Liverpool? I don't think he will. So he'll probably have to go elsewhere to reproduce the form that he showed before he came. But he's still a decent player.
United 2, Everton 2 is how it finished in that tie. This one, Bruno Fernandes had to say after the game he's not happy. We didn't want to finish this way. Our performance wasn't the best and we were a little bit lazy today. We want to avoid that because with laziness, you can pay at any moment. Hopefully, we can add one or two more players.
What?
Robert, what do you make of a teammate coming out and saying that we need more players?
As long as he was talking about himself as well, you know, he's talking about a we rather than they. He's the skipper. He's the player. He's the person that can be truthful. Sometimes the truth doesn't always help the team. We heard the manager last season keep telling the truth. They were a poor side and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. It didn't inspire them. I'm not sure that Bruno Fernandes is inspiring the other players at the moment by calling them lazy and saying that we need to be better. They obviously need to be better. They've needed to be better for 2 or 3 years. At the moment, Manchester United need every confidence they can muster. They've got to get players playing at their very best. They've got to get the best out of the 2 new players that come in. They've got to get the best out of every player that's at Manchester United. And they're going to have to work hard. They're going to have to be disciplined. They're going to have to take on board what the manager wants. But I can't see it's going to help Manchester United too much by Bruno Fernandes calling the players lazy in the last pre-season game.
Isn't this what we've been calling for, Stevie? Someone to be a leader within the dressing room, to take that responsibility, to tell these players, to shape them, to get them back into some sort of a gear?
Yes, but you just said it, in the dressing room. Right. Not in public, not in the media. Absolutely not. You know, when you're a player and you're asked, whether you're a senior player, the captain or whatever, when you're asked about signings or bringing players in, you don't even answer. It's nothing to do with you. You just bat it away. So no criticism in the media by anybody to their own players or any part of the club is acceptable. If you've got a problem, if you've got something to say, then you do it inside the dressing room or in the appropriate place, the boardroom, whatever it may be. But you don't do it in the media. It's 100% a no-no.
I'm willing to accept, barely, but I'm willing to accept that Bruno Fernandes is in a position in which he can address the performance of the team and say, we were lazy today. Fine. That's your assessment of the game. That's your evaluation of the game. So be it. But when you take it as far as we need 1 or more 2 players or whatever the amount of players that they need, now you're taking on a role that is not your responsibility. Now you're taking on a role of somebody who apparently has all the answers as to what's wrong with this club, and do what I tell you, and we're going to move forward, and we're actually going to do the things that we need to do and be successful because I came up with these thoughts and these ideas. That's when he's crossing a line, in my estimation. Look, you want to assess the team, evaluate the team, and say you were lazy? Well, so be it. But those players that you're referring to as lazy, quote unquote, and then those players that you're suggesting need to be substituted by the 1 or 2 players that need to be signed, those are the guys that you need to be talking to, not to us to tell you that we need more help. I think we can all understand that they need help, but it's not his place to be doing that.
Taking a look at its final comment, of course, that 1 or 2 players are needed, Gab. Sesko. Why did you make that noise?
Because we've been talking about Benjamin Sesko far too long.
Apparently has shown willing to go to Newcastle and Manchester United, Gab.
Yeah, I think he's kind of been at Leipzig long enough, and that's kind of his view, and he feels he's ready for the next step. And when you get such a veiled endorsement from Manchester United. Director of football, head of recruitment, Bruno Fernandes. No, I'm kidding. This is what they're working on. They're talking about some sort of swap deal involving Rasmus Højlund. I won't bore you by bringing up amortization again, but I think it's difficult for United because they're going to take a hit on this unless they can, really get a high valuation for Højlund in this deal, which then creates issues for Sesko the other way. I think Leipzig would take Højlund as kind of like a reclamation project. The thing about Sesko is he has this incredible skill set where he's tall, but he's also very athletic, and technically he's good. He's coming off a nightmare season. Can he lead the line on his own as a young player, at Old Trafford in a team that needs to bounce back? I don't know. It's a big ask. He would need a lot of support from the players around him, and of course from his coach. But clearly he's an upgrade over what they have.
Robbo, as painful as your knee surgery's been, it can't have been as painful as talking about Benjamin Sesko as we had for the last month. Are you surprised that a player of his quality is getting this much attention?
A little bit. I mean, he's a good player, and Gab just said he's got all the attributes to be an excellent player. But at the moment, he's not an excellent player. He's a good player. So I'm surprised that so many people have been interested in him. He did score goals last year. He led the line quite well, but he often had other players in good support of him. I don't think, and Gab's question was, would he be good enough for Manchester United to lead the line and take all the responsibility? I would say probably not. So it wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be an absolutely great signing for Manchester United if they got him.
Ahead of the start of the new season, we've been asking everybody for their Premier League picks. And you take a look at Gab, we'll talk about his number 1 pick as well in a moment, but take a look at number 6, Manchester United. Gab, what is it you think that's going to change so dramatically this season?
I was kind of going through the process of elimination here, in the fact that I really don't like any of Tottenham's signings.
Right.
Villa, of course, have done very, very little. I mean, somebody's got to finish sixth. They can't possibly be as awful as they were last year. Bournemouth, could they surprise us? Well, no, because they sold their entire defense, right? So I put these things together. Could Brighton pull it out of the hat again? Possibly. And I'm thinking Brighton or United, and I said, yeah, look, have United been this bad for consecutive years ever? No, or not that I can remember, but maybe they have many years ago. So why not Ruben Amorim to turn it around and sneak into sixth place?
Let's talk about first then, shall we? Manchester City, Gab, what's your case?
My case for Manchester City is this. They finished the season strong. I actually like the Reinders signing and the Ryan Cherky signings. I think, again, process of elimination. I don't think that since United, nobody has repeated as champions. Except for Manchester City, obviously, who won 1 million in a row. So that would be my argument against Liverpool. There's a deep, deep turnover of players at Liverpool with a coach who's in his second season. And again, as we often see, having won the league, inevitably your focus shifts a little bit to the Champions League the following year. Arsenal, I think Arsenal will be better, but I'm not on board with the Gyökeres signing. I would have used the money in a different way. And again, Arsenal, another team where that is quite a bit of upheaval. If you believe in that spine argument through the middle, they'll be better with Zubimendi. They'll presumably be better with Gyökeres or Havertz, whoever he chooses up front. But City are a really, really good team, and they were really good in the second half of last season. So I expect Pep to regain his mojo.
They did lose the FA Cup final, Gab.
Who did?
Manchester City.
What, Manchester City against Palace? Yeah, but so what? It's the FA Cup. Who cares? I mean, we're talking
all right.
over the course of a season.
Right, I see.
They lost the FA Cup final.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, I'm just saying, you've said they finished the season amazingly. Well, they did lose their final game against Palace.
But if you look, we're talking about the Premier League, not cup competitions. If we look in the Premier League, if you look at who got the most points, admittedly, once Liverpool took their foot off the gas in sort of the final months of the season, it was City who were coming on.
Wasn't it Chelsea as well, though, Gav? Weren't Chelsea up there as well when it comes to the final couple of months?
I believe City were ahead of them, but sure, yes, Chelsea as well. I just think Chelsea have to come from further behind because top to bottom, I think Manchester City, I hope Chelsea fans don't hate me for saying this, I think Manchester City have better players than Chelsea, and they probably have, at this time, a better manager, even though they're both bald.
Don't worry about it, Gab. He's just annoyed with you because of Darwin Nunez.
Clearly.
Now, just one last question on your predictions. The team that's going to finish third is going to have the best player in the league.
Yeah, why not?
Because I think that rarely happens.
Doesn't it?
Tell me when it's last happened.
Well, when Steve Nicol was Player of the Year, Liverpool finished third.
No way. Liverpool.
That's my reference. No, look, I think it's going to be a really close-out league. I think Bukayo Saka, if he stays fit, with time off last year with the pieces they put around him, he can be devastating. What, you want me to pick a City player? You want me to pick Florian Wirtz? I think, again, it's difficult to repeat. Right. So I went for two guys in Haaland and Saka. Sure, it could be Mo Salah again. Look at my crystal ball. Dude, it's August 4th, and you're asking me to make these predictions.
You've gone from 0 to 60 very quickly here.
Very happy. Very happy.
You're very the bear, man.
And very red as well.
Very red.
Meanwhile, Stuart Robson maybe a little more traditional in his picks. Let's take a look at how he thinks the top
Definitely
six
not as red.
in the Premier League. He's got Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Newcastle and Spurs. Erling Haaland's be his top scorer, Declan Rice to be player of the year. Let's start off with Liverpool. What about what Gab's saying about the turnaround in the squad, Stevie? Robbo, that could prove to be a problem?
Yeah, I don't think it will be a problem. I think they've got the basis of the side. It's a turnaround in some of the front areas. I think they're still going to be a very good team from what I've seen so far in pre-season. They're playing some dynamic football. We talked about how they could be exposed on the counter-attack. But I think they're the team that will go into the season with full of confidence. They're a team that look fit and hungry. And I think they will continue to play very, very well and win the title.
Yeah, you've got Declan Rice as your player of the year. Didn't you do that last year as well?
So I should have had a Liverpool player. I'm going to say that I pick a player who will be the most effective for his team. And I would say the most important player.
What's going on? No, that's not how it works, Robbo. It's who will be player of the year.
In my world, it does. In my world, it works like that.
Oh, yeah, that's how it all kind of comes together. Where have you got Manchester United then?
About halfway up the league. I just don't see them improving. I don't care what Ruben Amorim says about, his system and he's going to get it right and he just needs the players to fit into the system. I'm seeing the players he's bringing in. I'm seeing what he did last year. It wasn't so much the system. It was the philosophy of how they tried to play out from the back and they didn't do it very well and how they tried to get it into midfield areas. I couldn't see what he was trying to do last season and I can't see that's going to improve this season. He had a long, long time to improve it last season and I don't think they're going to get much better this season.
Gab says Spurs have bought a load of rubbish. You've got them finishing 6th, Robbo.
Yeah, but they've got a good manager, and I think they've got some decent signings. I think they have got enough in the attacking areas. I think they will be better defensively. I think he will get a better spirit amongst the players. And I think Spurs, not a great side, but they'll creep into that top 6 position because by powers of elimination, I'm not sure about some of the other teams that we've been talking about, like Brighton. They won't. They can't be consistent enough to stay in that top 6. I think the same with Bournemouth and others. Aston Villa, I don't think will be quite as good this year as they were the last couple of years.